But explain to them that there is fascia in that region too, so if they are having problems there, it's still beneficial. But some people, they actually have really thick head of hair. You can actually just yank on that and they maybe feel it a little bit. But other people, you hardly even touch them, and it's sensitive. So test it out a little bit beforehand. So it should be just a slight discomfort in this area or that region. Okay, another one you can actually use your forearm, but just make sure your hand is relaxed. So a lot of people actually kind of tense it up. When you perform the techniques, don't do that. Just make sure it's relaxed. You're just leaning your body and performing the stretch then too. So again, if you actually see your hand and your forearm move, more like you're performing it wrong. So again, 2 to 5 minutes usually. But again, make sure you're relaxed during this. But this is my choice for technique for myofascial release, just because you can actually kind of just lean into it, and it actually stretches out your forearm region too a little bit too, so you're actually incorporating a little bit of stretch for yourself. And what you can do too is, before you start the treatment, actually just move like this back and forth, and then after the treatment, actually test it out yourself, and you're going to notice more likely it's going to be a lot more flexible. So that's an area that us as massage therapists usually have a lot of problems, is in the forearm region. And some people actually do a cross-handed with the forearm too, so you can incorporate that. And you can even kind of hold on to yourself a little bit, your elbow region. But again, it's eventually going to come out a little bit. But you're not going to actually slide on the skin, you're sliding more on the fascia. That's why it's going to be a lot more pliable afterwards. You can actually move it around. But especially if the client is awake, it's a good idea to actually point it out to them that, well, it was like this before, and now it's actually have a lot more movement in that region. So a lot of times they don't feel the total benefit that day, but the next day that's when they feel a lot more flexible. They might feel a little bit of soreness after the treatment too the next day, but it's usually after 24 hours that's when they feel a little bit of discomfort. But that's what anything like aerobic workout too. So with aerobic workout, I mean, usually 48 to 72 hours afterwards you're going to be a little bit sore, so the body's just not used to all those areas then. Okay, just for smaller areas you can just use one hand. Especially if you're performing more trigger point therapy, so you're actually just finding it and just moving in different directions. Just do a little stretch with that. And later in the video we'll actually show you more actual stretches that you can actually incorporate myofascial release with too. So what we're going to do for this next one, I'm going to actually go under the arm like this, and I'm actually going to raise it up a little bit. As you can see with the border of the scapula here, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to actually kind of hook it and just do a little stretch like this. So again, it's kind of like a regular stretch, but you can actually make a myofascial release stretch out of it too. So this area I'm actually getting more of the rhomboids, also getting the serratus posterior superior, deepest muscle in this region, the trapezius most superficial in this area. But this area right underneath here, the superior angle of scapula, right up here, that's where a lot of people have a lot of problems. It's where the serratus posterior superior muscle. So you can just get into there and just actually do a little bit of stretch. But some people you won't be able to get underneath the scapula at all. See, with hers, I can actually get underneath a little bit, so up to the first, second knuckle there. But some you won't be able to, as long as you can get a little bit of a hook, then you can do more of a stretch in that region then. Okay, next one, what we can actually do is actually bring the arm off the table, and we're just getting more of the side of the body too then. So again, especially if you do posture evaluation first, and you know it's a little bit more contracted in this region, that's the area you know where to concentrate on a little bit more. Next one, you can actually put their hand on top of their head like this. And you can actually use more of your forearm, actually go through that region. So you're making a stretch out of that. So it's basically a double stretch. So we're lifting it up, stretching out the pec region, but then we're also getting more of the rhomboid region too when we're going through the stretch. So again, it's a great massage technique too when you actually lift it up, and kind of like a ratchet technique, just going through that region.